Hello, I'm at Stevens Creek Nature Preserve today on the east side of Charlotte, just inside 485, so it's the beltway that goes around. But behind me is their actual nature center. So I have not been here before. This is a paved trail to get to the trails, I guess. But they had a pretty good calendar list outside the door of the events they had going on, like yoga and for adults, how to educate about environmental sciences and stuff like that. So I thought that was really cool because that's something I would love to pursue at some point. And then they had all kinds of fun kids activities. So that was awesome. And they have a nature center there. So fun for the kids for sure. But it's very quiet. It's a rainy day today. So plan for a rainy day hike. Expecting to get a little wet. It's only misting, or I guess we're up to sprinkling now, so starting to get a little wetter. And here comes our trail. Seems like they have pretty good signs. Not a lot of trail, but I think it totals, with the loops, if you do it all, it'll be about 4 miles. Pretty flat, so it seems like it'd be good for kids too, but also good for not worrying about slipping in the mud. So there were some information boards as we were walking through. I don't know if it's actually like marshland, but definitely seems like a wetland area today. Definitely a clear creek going through there though. Makes sense, Stevens Creek Nature Preserve. But they were sharing that the area here had kind of been reshaped by developers, and so they were trying to reclaim it for nature. So they're trying to help it go back to the way it was and have its natural bend in the creek and allow all the natural formations to be there and the trees as they were. So that's pretty cool, restoring the area. I guess you can see it behind me too. It's a really pretty view with all the light brown speckled in among the trees today. So those leaves are holding on till the new ones come out. But for now, it's just a whole different thing with all the shades of brown. Wow, it's very pretty. Almost gives it the like magical kind of feel of snow. That's fun. One of the things that I've been dealing with over the last few years has been grieving in a variety of ways. So this has been something I've been learning more about, but there's been things that I've been grieving that made obvious sense, like losing my brother, and still working through that in some ways, but that's kind of a normal path of grieving that people go through and kind of accept it as the norm. But then there's been others that I felt like, I can't even express it. It seems weird to say I'm grieving it, but as my son's gone through changes, I have grieved I've thought of it as like a loss because of the change in dynamic and stuff like that. But I'm recognizing that it's just change. There's not a loss, it's just different. So it's been a different way to handle it. So while I have had to grieve the loss of my brother, thankfully I don't have to grieve the loss of a relationship with my son. It's just different than it was. But nonetheless, there is grief there, and I think not always acknowledged as something that is grieved. But I know there's plenty of parents that grieve the changes as their kids grow up, and for different ways, different reasons, different ways, and that all makes sense. And I think when we allow ourselves to acknowledge what it is, so me acknowledging I'm just grieving a change, but it's still going to be something different, then I think it helps in that healing process and allows me to stay a little more present for whatever changes have ensued. So another thing that I've definitely grieved was change in my physical ability because of all the chronic symptoms and disease things. So that's been a really hard one, but that's the same thing. I have definitely viewed it as a loss of the things that I can't do anymore. And while that's true, I'm not doing those. It's really just a change in what I can do. So, or how I do spend my time. So, that one I'm still trying to work through as well, but finding the challenges and goals and some of those like exhilarating moments to experience with some of the physical activities that I would say with running that I can no longer do. I'm finding it with other activities, and so I think pursuing those will help in that process of grieving the change. But I think it's healthy to recognize like it's totally okay to grieve things. We just grief is a process, and so it should be active and you should be moving through it. So I've been trying to speak that to myself. It is very obvious that this area has experienced the change. This environment has grieved change. That's the highway right there. It's so crazy, but it's awesome that they're making sure that this is now preserved. So this land is here and stays natural. But good example of how to deal with the grief of change. So instead of just being upset about it, somebody decided to do something about it to save what they could around the area. So I think that's pretty cool. And it shows the impact we can have when we're making forward progress. So to remember that can be forward progress in our own lives if we're grieving a personal change close to us, or it can be for a bigger cause, a greater cause, and other people. If there's a change that we're grieving that surrounds us. Definitely some sort of old structure was here. No idea what it was. It has no signage or anything to tell us what it was. But something was here. And what I'm super excited about is all the daffodils getting ready to come up. Around here I have learned mid-February is the start of daffodil season. So I had been waiting, no flowers on, there's a There are a few with the buds. Yay! Oh, that's so fun. Yeah, there's a few of them out there. But I had been waiting. I knew that's our first sign of something spring-like coming. But it's definitely, they're definitely planted in rows of some kind. It's like a path coming in this way, and then another path over that way. And then this row here is just a row, I'm not sure, but I would love to know why they were planted. Pretty cool to think about all the ways the land has been used over the years. I'm pretty excited. It's hard to see out there. Let's see if we can get a little closer. There's a bunch of daffodils in bloom over here. So much fun. Oh my goodness. It's so pretty. Spring is coming. We were out in the, it's more open for a couple minutes. Really felt the rain coming down then. Got pretty wet. Still coming down pretty good. A little more tree cover though. Oh, here's more daffodils. That's so fun. Oh my goodness. So much green and yellow. It stands out, especially on a day like this. It's so dreary and cloudy. Very pretty. So we were out in the open for a little bit because this trail actually has an access point at the other end. So we went out to see what that was like. So it was a pretty good sized parking lot. I guess it was a gravel parking lot as opposed to the paved parking lot at the nature center. But that's cool to be able to access the trail in two ways. So we've seen two separate men out with their dogs walking today. That's it. One was in a poncho trying to stay dry. Definitely wet, but great day to be out. The temperature is cold, like 40 degrees, and it's raining obviously. So it's weird because it's like cold in that way, cold rain, cold air, but walking, especially bundled up like I am, I'm very warm. So stark difference in the temperatures is strange. I'm so glad I'm taking each of the different trail sections through this nature preserve, because each one has been a little different and there's been something fun to see on each one. Different rocks, or saw a couple different fungi that were pretty cool. I know we should be seeing more of that soon. But the flowers, and then it's cool the different types of trees. So we just went through an area that was all pine. We had the other section that was, I can't remember what the kind is, the one that keeps its leaves until the new ones come in. We had a whole section of that. We had a section of mixed deciduous trees. So with the oaks and everything. It's pretty cool to see all the different areas. Feel like you're going something different with each turn you take. There's some deer running across through there. That's so fun. Hopefully they stay away from the road. This is really cool on this trail. I hadn't counted how many there are. This says 6 of 8, so I guess there's 8 of them. But you scan the QR code. This was somebody's Eagle Scout project. And they share information about the spot that you're in and the area that we're in, about the trail and everything. So this one was so interesting. I don't see it, but in the video, it's a video and there's a kid talking about whatever's in the area, the signs of the past. So they show that up in one of these trees, there's a shovel stuck in the tree, and I can't see it. It said you'd have to have a close eye. So maybe if I knew which tree to look at, I might know. Might be able to see it. But it shared some other information about this particular trail right now is Sawmill Trail. And so it gives some information about why it's called Sawmill Trail and some history with the mills in the area. So I think that makes for a fun aspect of the hike. Makes it a little interactive. So I think that was a great idea for an Eagle Scout project. There's some of the fungus I was mentioning. It's funny because it seems so gross, but it also can be so pretty or so cool. But fungus is so awesome because it indicates the life that's happening on the forest floor, and that's going to give life to the rest of the forest. So that's going to create the change and continued growth. Now there's another one of the markers that you could listen to. So I'm thinking I'll have to bring my son over here and check it out. But one of the changes I have not been grieving, been celebrating, is the growth and maturity and the things that we've been able to figure out to help Caden be successful. So it's good to have those moments to see that it is just change, and so I can celebrate the new, even though it's hard to grieve that change and grieve the old. But he just finished got a message, they just finished their last big training run before their big run for next weekend. So they'll be each completing half marathon to complete a marathon relay as a team. So that's something that Caden's been super excited about, and that's something that I'm going to be celebrating too, for him to be changing and growing into this excitement as a runner with Caleb, and I'm happy for them. It's pretty awesome. So next week and next weekend, get to cheer them on as they finish the run they've been training for 22 weeks. So I'm going to make my way back to the car and get home to see how they're doing. And I'll see you next time on the trail with Heart.